everybody. My name's Cathy McCabe, and I've been on the TEACH staff as a program manager for about 2.5 years. Janine gave us a lot of great information about her individual tutors and students, but I'm excited to share with you some of the changes that we've made at the program level in adapting to the new normal of COVID-19. My first slide is about TEACH as an organization. I want to give a big shout out to our team, Constantine, Susanna, and Amy. I couldn't have a better group of people to be working with during these very high stress times. TEACH is a volunteer nonprofit adult ESL literacy organization, and we provide one-to-one English language instruction. The numbers I'm showing to you on the screen here are pre-COVID. So pre-COVID, we served over 600 students at 18 sites in suburban Cook, DuPage, and Will County. During COVID, we were focused on the health and safety of our students and our tutors, and we wanted to provide information and access to essential services for them. And we decided to do that by putting it on our public webpage. Please feel free to check it out. You can find us at teachempowers.org. Some of the topics that you'll find on the webpage include resources for health and wellness, lists of food pantries, other food assistance resources, and resources for free or low-cost assistance for rent or utilities. We are very grateful for the help of our extended team. Happy to have them. Dan Curtin, who located and organized many of these resources, Melissa Selleck, who maintains our Facebook page, Mary Beth Neisel, who helps us with our wellness checks, and Cathy Biga, who's in charge of our website. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do this important work of keeping our community informed. It was very important for us to check in with our tutors when everything started happening, and we encouraged our tutors to do wellness check-ins with their students. So in the spring and summer, we asked our tutors to report any contact time that they had with their student, not necessarily tutoring time, just contact time, and report it to us on a monthly basis. It could be a note in the mail, it could have been an email, a simple text message, whatever it was, we wanted to know about it, and then we encouraged it. This really helped to keep tutor-student relationships strong, even though the tutors and students weren't tutoring at that time. So since COVID, of course, everything has changed. One of the big things that changed for us was our student intake process. We're always concerned about this comfort level of the student. We want them to feel comfortable working with us. So we expanded our intake process to include a lot of additional steps, and I'm going to talk about each of those steps right now. The first thing we do is we send a Google form via text or email to the student and ask them for just very limited information, name, phone number, email, and their day and time that they're available for tutoring. After that, they get a phone call from one of us to determine what kind of technology they're capable of. And then also it's an opportunity for us to have an informal first oral assessment to see how well they communicate in English. After that, we give them a 30-minute placement test, which I'm going to talk about in detail on the next slide. If necessary, we do provide individual training in technology for every student. So that means most likely some practice Zoom sessions with the student before they meet with their tutor. And then finally, it's time for them to meet with their tutor. If they're going to be meeting via Zoom, one of us as program managers usually hosts that meeting, and we are there to introduce the tutor to the student and to troubleshoot anything that happens during that first Zoom meeting, which sometimes it does, and then also to answer any questions. If our tutors are using video calls or telephone calls, one of us contacts them right after their first meeting to make sure everything went well. We do a lot more contact with our tutors and our students now, I think, than we did in the past when we were meeting at the sites. Finally, after a student has met with their tutor, we ask them to complete the extensive personal information form. And this again is on a Google form. So you'll find every form that we had people filling out in paper before has now become a Google form. And our last step is to host a Zoom meeting to set goals and do the pre-testing that we do using the TABE Class E speaking assessment. I know many of you are interested in testing, and currently we're using two different assessments. The first is a 30-minute placement test, which we adapted from the New Readers Press Step Forward textbook. We found it online. It was a paper test on the New Readers Press website. We adapted it to a Google form, translated it maybe to a Google form, and you can see an example here on the slide. So first we call the student and we give them an oral assessment using the TABE Class E speaking portion of the locator test. Very simple few questions like, what's your name? Can you drive a car? What are you going to do tomorrow? And then after that, while we still have the student on the phone, we either email or text them a version of this placement test, which is on a Google form. And while we have the student on the phone, we walk them through the first part of the test. So then they enter their name, their email, and the date, and they answer the first question. After that, we hang up the phone, which is a little unusual. The student continues on with the test, and we set a timer for 30 minutes. At the end of 30 minutes, we call the student up and ask them to submit the form, which they do. And that is how we administer a placement test. Now, we do have a few concerns doing testing in this manner. It seems to be working for us, but we are worried that sometimes the student might get some help while we're not on the phone with them. And the other problem is that the test is only 25 questions. So it's not a very accurate assessment, but it does give us a good general idea of where the student's at. And that allows us to choose which pre-test to give them in the TABE Class E speaking test. So that's our other test that we're using. It's the TABE Class E speaking assessment. Pre-COVID, we used the full battery of the TABE Class E, which was the reading, writing, listening, and speaking. And we felt we wanted to use something that could easily transition back to where we were before COVID when we get back to face-to-face. We administer the speaking test in a Zoom setting meeting and in conjunction with goal setting. It's a three-way conversation between our tutor, student, and a program manager, and it takes about 30 minutes. We do the speaking test first. It takes about 15 minutes, and then we have a 15-minute conversation with the student and tutor and establish some goals for the academic year. As a bonus, we're finding that even those students and tutors who normally meet using a video call like FaceTime, they are able to attend a Zoom meeting. So we've been able to test quite a few students just in this manner. Sorry about that, I lost my total train of thought. So anyway, another big change for us was the training we offered to our current tutors to get them ready for remote tutoring. At the end of August and the beginning of September, we offered 18 professional development sessions. There were 5 different training themes, which I list on the slide. And our goal was to improve the technology skills and the comfort level of our tutors and to help each other while we're learning in a community learning environment. And I'm happy to report a total of 46 tutors attended 131 hours of sessions over the course of 3 weeks. And it gave us a fantastic jumpstart for our remote fall session. And while many things changed, some things didn't change very much. And one of those is our new tutor intake and training. Nothing's really changed because we still have more students than tutors. So we recruit all the time through our local churches, volunteer organizations, and online. Volunteer Match has been a great thing for us. All our training is the same. We've simply adapted it to the remote access. We've had 2 very successful remote training sessions so far, and each session still has the required 12 hours, same concepts, same materials, just moved online. And as you can see in this chart, it's a combination of Zoom meetings and independent study, and comes out to 12 to 15 total training hours at the end. Finally, I'm going to finish up by sharing some new ways of doing that we plan to keep. It really feels like a hybrid environment of face-to-face and remote is in our future. So there are some changes we made that will not be going away. And one of those is our group conversation hours. So we've been hosting 4-week bursts of group conversation hours on Zoom where we invite all of our students. Some of the benefits of holding the conversations hours are that it maintains student relationships with those students who don't have a tutor yet. For our current students, it gives them additional speaking practice, which they love. And it helps us because it gives our technology-shy tutors a chance to get their feet wet working with students on Zoom. So how do we do this? First, we choose a theme. The one that you're looking at here is thinking for the week, and 2 to 3 idioms. And then we develop a lesson that's appropriate for 3 levels. We have a level that's for the most beginning, the very beginning students. We also have something for the very, very advanced students. And then we have another level, which we call the plus, which is everybody in the middle, which is a pretty large group, actually. Every conversation hour includes a large group mini lesson on the idioms that's presented by one of the program managers. And then we have 30 minutes of small group conversation where a tutor is put into a breakout room on Zoom with 2 or 3 students that are approximately at the same level. They have 30 minutes of conversation on the weekly theme, and then everyone comes back to the main room for a big Jeopardy game. The students seem to love it, and we typically have 10 to 15 students attending each of our sessions. We do the same session twice a week. We have one session in the morning and then another one in the evening. Another innovation that is not going to go away is our Google Classroom. We created a Google Classroom for some of our favorite tutoring resources. Each Google Classroom has a PDF version of the textbook, a teacher guide, and audio that tutors can use while they're in a Zoom lesson. And in addition to the New Readers Press resources, which we absolutely love, it's also a great place to organize free materials to make them easily accessible for our tutors. So we also have a classroom for Breaking News English, which is free online. With the Google Classroom, you do need a Gmail account for access, but we really like it because we're able to easily control who can access what. Tutors are added to only those materials that they are currently using with their student. So, and finally, I hope you can notice we have a YouTube icon on this slide. We also created a Teach Empowers YouTube channel with some training videos for our tutors and students. This is just another innovation that we plan to keep and will likely expand upon. Those are some of the ways Teach has adapted during COVID-19 restrictions. Thanks for letting me share our team's experiences with you.